There's a horn sticking out of it. A lot of people are saying that, hey, could this be one of Unicron's horns? What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just Webster's. We're talking about Transformers last night. This episode number 100. There's only 10 fingers, but it represents 100. This is just me expressing my excitement for actually making it all the way to the 100th episode of The Road to TF5. I can't believe we made it all the way from episode 1 to 100, and it's all thanks to you guys. I want to thank every single one of you guys and gals for following me on this fun and exciting journey. And the journey's not ending here. It's going to continue all the way up to the release of Transformers last night, and then it's going to continue for the road to TF6, or the road to Bumblebee, whatever you want to call it. All I can tell you is that this is not the end. It's going to continue with every single movie. So make sure you stay subscribed to this channel, and I appreciate every single one of you guys and gals for following me on this really, really exciting journey. It is going to continue, and your support is really, really appreciated. So, wow, we made it to 100. Thanks a lot to you guys. We're going to keep on going. We got a big episode for you guys. And I want to give a big shout out to Some Guy Reacts for posting this comment. Alex, next episode is the big 100. Make something huge. And I want to thank you everybody, all 74 of you guys, for liking that comment. And I love the enthusiasm. I really appreciate it. I don't know what to do for my 100th episode in terms of making something huge. I guess my expressions of excitement and appreciation for you guys is actually quite huge. So I really don't know what to do other than that, but to give you guys what you want, and that is a new episode and new stuff to talk about. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the plot details of Transformers last night. After all, you guys already know that there was all these set reports from various major entertainment and movie websites, for example, Collider, IGN, Nerdist, to name a few, and TFW2005.com actually did a really great job of compiling all that information and summarizing it into a brief version. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to comment on the story aspects of it and also the robot aspect of it, like such as new Transformers characters and all that stuff that we're going to talk about. As for the human aspect of it, we're going to save that for the next episode. We're going to talk about humans in the next episode. Yes, I know that's everybody's favorite topic, to talk about the humans in a Transformers film. So we're going to leave that out for the 100th, from the 100th episode. We're going to talk about that in episode 101. So stay tuned for that. I know you guys really want to know about the human aspect, alright? So stay tuned for the next episode. But for now, let's talk about the plot and about new Transformers in the road, or rather in Transformers last night. This is the 100th episode, so here we go. So, it says right here, opening scene will explain TF mythology. Nothing new here. This is something that has been explained in parts, bit by bit, in every single film, maybe except for Age of Extinction. Actually, Age of Extinction did explain a little bit, but there wasn't Optimus Prime's narration. You know what I'm saying? Optimus Prime's narration was always in the first, second, and third Transformers film. They didn't quite add his narration in the fourth film, Age of Extinction, but they did at least add the dinosaur sequence. So it shows you something from the past. So this is no different, but I'm thinking that the narration will be done by Anthony Hopkins. And his character seems to be something which serves a bit of significance, quite a significant bit of significance in this film. So I believe the narration will come from him, just as it did in the teaser trailer, or trailer 1. Next thing we're going to talk about, Megatron and Optimus' backstory. Quintessons and Primes will be explored. Wait a minute, did they say Quintessons? I thought they're called the Creators, or rather the Creator, as in one, singular. So, it says that Quintessons and Primes will be explored. We first got our first look at Primes in Revenge of the Fallen, when it was that dream sequence where Sam Witwicky was dreaming and then you saw the other primes. And then in Dark of the Moon, Sentinel Prime referred to himself as a prime, which he is. So that's the only knowledge that we have about the primes. As for the Quintessons, or otherwise known as the creators, if they're even the same characters, that was only teased by Lockdown in Age of Extinction, but we don't know very much more other than that and what we know from G1 lore. And it's also very interesting to know that we're going to learn more about Megatron and Optimus' backstory. That's something very interesting because we got to know about it in Season 3 of G1, and I wonder how much they're actually going to take from that. I hope they keep it true to the source material because it'll be great to have it explained in live action format. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to explain it probably in more detail. So that's going to be very, very interesting if they go that route. Optimus will question his leadership and there will be a new Prime. Wow. Optimus is going to question his leadership, which we already got a taste of in the teaser trailer. After all, he just totally was beating down a Bumblebee, and also the poster says, rethink your heroes. So he's going to question his leadership, and something crazy is going to happen. There's also the suggestion that Bumblebee is going to be the new leader, and also Hot Rod is in there, and of course if you know Hot Rod from G1, you know he's like the next leader. So yeah, there will be a new Prime, new character, which is going to end up being a Prime. Could that be Hot Rod? Rodimus Prime? Could he be that Prime? It's going to be very interesting if they decide to really incorporate that. I mean, that's lore from the 1986 movie. To bring that in would be one hell of a nod to the fans. Or it could be an entirely different character. Who knows? Squeaks. Let's talk about Squeaks. Squeaks is broken, can't transform, and can only say Chihuahua. I had a feeling that Squeaks was going to be a bit of a comic relief type character in the film because of just the way he looks. You know that's something that Michael Bay really wanted like that. Like, it's his style of Transformers. And he's kind of silly looking after all. It is a Vespa. And he's broken, he can't transform, which I think is a little bit kind of lazy, but it could potentially lead to the character development for his character. He can't transform for the first and second act, and later on, he's able to transform for the third act. I think that's what's going to happen. But I originally thought that the not being able to transform thing was just kind of lazy to not have him transform because he's like a physical prop. But if he can really transform, I think that will be a crowd-pleasing moment if it actually happens. Let's talk about the potential other Prime. Hot Rod has a French accent and has two vehicle modes, the Lambo and the Citroën DS, which is Vivian's car. Vivian is the character played by Laura Haddock. So Hot Rod has a French accent, not an English accent. I was calling them the English Autobots. Now I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to call them the Eurobots. The European Autobots, because they're like, they only show up when they're in Europe, or rather the UK, to be specific. Hot Rod has a French accent, so what is he going to say? Is he going to go, sacre bleu? Is he going to say that, or is he going to go, bonjour, je m'appelle Hot Rod? Is he going to say things like that? Anyways, he's got two vehicle modes, he's a triple changer, but he's a very unique type of triple changer. Typically, when you think of triple changers, you think of three modes: robot mode, vehicle mode, aerial mode. And by aerial mode, I mean like, you know, a vehicle form that could take flight or fly to outer space. But this is different. This has two modes, a Lambo and a Citroën. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that he's a triple changer, as in he could flip from one mode to another. This could potentially mean that he is kind of like Bumblebee. So Bumblebee started off as an old Camaro, and then he evolves into a new Camaro. So this is kind of like the same thing, where Hot Rod, he starts off as a Citroën DS, then later on when it's time to fight, he becomes a Lambo. Maybe he starts off as, you know what, I'm just going to throw this out here. He starts off as a Citroën DS. Our first introduction to Hot Rod is a Citroën DS. Later on, he scans a Lambo, becomes the Lambo and then transforms. So he goes from Citroen to Lambo to robot mode. That's what I'm thinking his introduction is going to be like. It's going to be very interesting to see that. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a triple changer per se, just like I actually did earlier. I will say that he's like Bumblebee, where he gets a mode and then he gets another mode after that. Both of which are vehicle modes. There will be a new villain, a different form of a Decepticon. So, we know that Megatron's in it, and there's no way they will tease, or rather give away, the new Decepticon in the first teaser. I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to show Megatron, but they're not going to show the new Decepticon. Now, could the new Decepticon be the three-headed dragon? That three-headed dragon is definitely a threatening Cybertronian that existed in medieval times. So I'm going to assume that's a Decepticon, and Decepticons existed, of course, back in medieval times as well. So that is their version, or that time period's version of a Decepticon. After all, the Decepticon's not going to be a train or a tank or a car or a helicopter during medieval times. It's going to take the form of medieval creatures. In this case, a three-headed dragon, a beast mode. So that could be the new villain, or an entirely new villain, like a big guy that we haven't seen yet, and we'll find out who it is in Super Bowl. It also says there will be a Submarine TF. Now that is something we kind of expected. After all, there was a scene where they were filming with the HMS Alliance, and also there was a scene where a lot of extras were standing in front of, or rather on the sidewalk of London Bridge, and then when they look over towards the, is it the Thames River? When they look over to the waterfront, they see something huge. And they're supposed to run and scream. That could be the Submarine TF. Or it could be the big thing that they woke up. So there's potentially two different characters. The Submarine TF, and then a huge thing that they woke up that was sleeping underwater. So they could be two big guys. And the two big guys could be fighting with each other. If it's a Submarine TF, I'm thinking, could that be an Autobot? Because Vivian and Cade were inside it. Anyways, let's talk about Grimlock. Grimlock will be in the beginning of the movie. He'll have a larger role, but not much. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Grimlock being in the beginning of the movie, mainly because that is a character that it has, you know, it's a beast mode. He's not necessarily a character with a modern mode. He's got a beast mode, like a dinosaur, like a dragon. After all, he's got the horns. So he is a character that could have existed during medieval times. And the knights viewed him as beasts. And he's also one of the knights. Like, he's also referred to as a knight. So it makes sense that he's going to exist during the medieval times. Is he going to make an appearance in modern times? I don't know. There's a possibility he could, but most of his screen time will most likely be in medieval times, mainly because he was a beast that existed during that time. Like, his beast mode represents the appropriation for his existence in that time. As for him showing up in modern times, he could have a larger role, as in reinforcements, but not that much. Like Lorenzo de Bonaventura said before, he's like a naughty dog. He's got more screen time, he's going to have more personality, he's going to interact, but will he be interacting with medieval people or modern people? That is the big question. We talked about this before, mini T-Rexes who just started to breathe fire. So there's mini T-Rexes and they're just learning learning how to use their capabilities, one of which is breathing fire. We covered that in the last episode. There will be hints to other spin-off movies. So obviously it's possible that they're going to hint at Bumblebee, talking about his backstory and what he's all about. And that, of course, would lead to the Bumblebee prequel. But there's a lot more they could go. Like, they could really branch out there. Not just to TF6, TF7, but to spin-off movies, which are going to happen. There won't be any female Transformers in the film, so they're cutting that out completely. Override, or rather the Lady. Wait a minute, there's one called the Lady, so what's up with that? That's got to be just a code name, like a placeholder name. They're just calling it the Lady, maybe throw people off, but it says right here there won't be any female Transformers in the film. Our only introduction to female Transformers was RC, in Revenge of the Fallen, she originally was supposed to appear in TF1, but the writers didn't want to have the task of explaining female Cybertronians in the first film. So there won't be that at all. Cogman is a Headmaster. Cogman is the Aston Martin DB11 that is silver, and he's a Headmaster. So how does that work? So he's going to be an Aston Martin, and then when he transforms to robot mode, he's going to take off his head. How does that really work? Is he going to drive his own vehicle when he's in vehicle mode, or is he going to walk around headless? So that is something very interesting, but it's also good to know that the live-action films are going to be incorporating their version of Headmasters into the live-action universe, the cinematic universe. So that's cool to know. It's going to be interesting how they're going to do that, but it's something that we can come to expect. There's a Decepticon bike and a Volkswagen van called Mohawk and Hooligan. Now, do these names sound familiar? They would, because those were the concept names for the Dreads back in Transformers Dark of the Moon. They didn't have names for them, so they just named them names like Hooligan. And now those names are being carried over to the Decepticon bike, which is the Confederate 61, Confederate 91, I forgot, and then the Volkswagen van. And that's going to be cool because these are new Decepticons, but I'm really curious what they're going to look like in the robot modes. Are they going to look like the Dreads? Because after all, they are carrying their concept name, so are they going to be like an extension of the Dreads? But anyways, I'm looking forward to that. I am definitely looking forward to more Decepticons because we've seen so many of the official release images for the Autobots. I want to see some more Decepticons. An Autobot was going to get killed by military by accident. An Autobot was, keyword was, going to get killed by military by accident. So by saying was in the past tense, does that mean they scrapped that idea? Because they would have typed in an Autobot is going to get killed by military by accident. So it looks like that's not happening anymore. If I read that and they actually put that in, I would be a little bit upset to know that. Mainly because, well, that's kind of spoilerish, but these are kind of minor spoilers, but not that much. I mean, more like plot details. But knowing who's going to get killed, that's kind of bummerish. But it does serve the story. After all, it says an Autobot is going to accidentally get killed. I mean, going to get killed by military by accident. So how does that work out when TRF is actually the ones doing the hunting of Autobots and Decepticons? All Cybertronians, not just Autobots. It doesn't make a difference to them. But anyways, this is an idea that could potentially have gotten scrapped because it says an Autobot was going to get killed by the military by accident, not is going to get killed. Finally, the last little comment is about Bumblebee. The Bumblebee movie script doesn't have a lot of other TFs, but it may change. Hopefully that changes. I just hope that the Bumblebee solo film is actually like a Transformers film without Optimus Prime, but it focuses on Bumblebee. As in he's going to have like his main screen time. I would love that. Bumblebee would have to have a Decepticon nemesis though. I mean, it can't just be about Bumblebee and humans. I mean, who's going to want to watch that? I know a lot of people are going to watch that, but who's going to really want to watch that? You got to put in other TFs there. You got to put in his sidekicks, the Car Brothers, you got to put in like people that are part of Bumblebee's circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, not people, but other Transformers that interacted with him in G1. That's something that should be addressed. And I really hope that they make it the Bumblebee solo film to be like any other Transformers film minus Optimus Prime, but the focus is on Bumblebee. So, anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. I've left out all the human aspects because I didn't want to talk about that in this episode. I want to talk about that in episode 101, and you're going to want to stay tuned for that just because, you know, even though humans are a not very exciting part of the Transformers universe, it is still something that keeps the story moving forward. You know what I'm saying? If it's going to take place on Earth, there's got to be humans. Make no mistake about it, there's got to be humans, okay? But anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. And I just want to give a big shout out to Tabani Charles. And he made a comment here, sent me a private message. Hey man, I liked and subscribed your videos. I'm all the way in Zimbabwe in southern Africa. And one thing that got me curious about the TF5 trailer is that horn-like structure in the desert. Please do a video about it. I'm going to take a moment right here to address this horn that's sticking out of the desert. Now this was shot in Africa because they did filming in Africa. And there's a horn sticking out of it. A lot of people are saying that, hey, could this be one of Unicron's horns? And what we see right here is really just the horn sticking out of the sand. And I'm just going to provide you with my theories. And that is, this is either a Cybertronian ship, a Cybertronian structure that was just like dug out, kind of like the Sun Harvester in Revenge of the Fallen that was embedded inside the pyramid, or it's a big Cybertronian. Okay, it could be, I mean, I'm not saying that it's Unicron, but it could be Unicron, but I'm not gonna, I'm not leaning towards that. I mean, the possibility is there, but I don't really believe that. But, you know, if they're taking elements from Transformers Prime, Unicron could be in the ground, that could be Unicron's horn, and he could come out like out of the ground just like he did in Transformers Prime. But I don't think it's that. I think it's a Cybertronian structure, because we've seen that sort of thing before. Or it could be a Cybertronian ship that crash landed, which means that if you look if they go inside it, it crash landed, there's probably dead Cybertronians in there. That's all I can think about. I don't think it's an actual big Transformers. I mean, if it really is, maybe that's the same Cybertronian that is all the way in the ocean. Maybe that was there in the past, like I'm talking about like ancient, like in the far distant past, like hundreds of years ago, and maybe it made its way to the ocean now because it went missing or something. I don't know. But anyways, that's my theories. I mean, there's not really much for me to talk about just because all they gave us was that one image, and it's very vague. It doesn't really mean anything to us, so all we can do is just speculate, and my speculation is just it's a Cybertronian structure or Cybertronian ship that is empty, full of dead Cybertronians. And that's all I got to say in this episode. But in any case, it does serve some sort of significance. Otherwise, they wouldn't put such a thing in the movie and in the trailer. All right? It's meant to get us to speculate. But anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the Ragin Nation all the way to episode number 100. This is quite an achievement, and it's all thanks to you guys, and I want to say thank you to every single one of you guys. Thank you to all my subscribers, followers. Thank you to all the new subscribers. If you are a new subscriber, thank you so much. There's going to be more episodes coming along, and this is your one-stop shop to all the Transformers news and updates for all the upcoming films, starting with Transformers Last Night. So there's a lot to talk about. Stay subscribed, and we are going to continue on to episode number 101. Last thing I want to say to you guys is Merry Christmas! Episode number 100 falls on Christmas weekend, so Merry Christmas to everybody. And I know there's a lot of people who might not celebrate Christmas, so happy holidays to you guys and everybody else out there. And to those who can't celebrate, or rather don't have any form of celebration during this time of year, I just want you to feel, you know, like, be thankful. You know, be thankful that that you have good health, that you have people around you. If you don't have anyone around you, think about the fact that we're here. You know, we're here. We got Transformers. We got great movies coming ahead of us. We got each other. There are a lot of people out there that you might not even know that actually care about you, like myself included. I hope you guys are all doing well. And just appreciate what you have. Don't think about so much of the things that you don't have and that you want. Don't think about any of that stuff. Think of what you have and be thankful for it. Because if it weren't for that, then, you know, we wouldn't be in a very good place. There's a lot of terrible things that are happening around the world, but, you know, we have a lot of things that, you know, really keep us going. And such as clothing, food, shelter, you know, people beside us, maybe your pets, you know what I'm saying? And even, you know, some people don't even have clean drinking water. Be thankful for clean drinking water. I wish and hope for the best for every single one of you guys. I hope that you are all doing well, and if you're not doing well, then at least think about the fact that there's somebody out there that actually cares about you, such as myself, okay? So anyways, happy holidays, and I hope that, you know, we continue on together on this journey, and there's a few more days until the end of the year. Make it the best, okay? Make it the best, and in 2017, I'll have a big opener for you guys, as in, like, I'll make a big announcement about something. I'll find something to announce. But anyways, I got big plans for the Ragin Nation in 2017. It's meant to be a big year. After all, it is the release of Transformers last night, so I'm going to make it really, really big for you guys and myself. And there you have it. That's all I got to say in this episode. And stay raging. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, @Ragin Nation. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Peace. That was never heard before, which means that it is about his past. This image and this statement right here actually